A moment of truth. Do prayers really work? We've all been there, facing a crisis, a loved one in need, or simply yearning for a change in our lives. In these moments, many turn to prayer. It's a deeply personal act, a plea for divine intervention. But what if those prayers are falling on deaf ears? What if the comfort and hope we seek are just illusions? It's time to face a difficult truth. Overwhelming evidence suggests that prayers, as a means to effect change in the physical world, simply don't work. This isn't about disrespecting faith. This is about honesty, about confronting the reality that countless studies and real-life situations reveal. This isn't an easy conversation, but it's a necessary one. By examining the evidence and understanding the true nature of our universe, we can abandon false hope and embrace a more empowering reality, one where we acknowledge our agency and work towards solutions, rather than relying on divine intervention that never seems to materialize. The science speaks examining the evidence. The question of prayer's efficacy isn't a matter of faith, it's a testable hypothesis, and the results are in. Study after study, meticulously designed to eliminate bias and external factors, have consistently shown no discernible effect of prayer on medical outcomes, personal circumstances, or global events. One of the largest and most well-known studies, the STEP project, involved over 1,800 patients undergoing heart surgery. The results? Prayer offered no significant benefit to the patient's recovery. In fact, some groups who were prayed for experienced slightly worse outcomes, likely due to the added pressure of knowing strangers were praying for their well-being. These findings are not isolated incidents. Numerous other studies, conducted across various disciplines and contexts, consistently demonstrate the ineffectiveness of prayer in influencing tangible outcomes. From natural disasters to personal tragedies, the universe seems indifferent to our pleas for divine intervention. Beyond placebo, where's the divine intervention? This question has puzzled humanity for centuries, stirring debates and discussions across cultures and religions. Proponents of prayer often point to anecdotal evidence, personal testimonies of prayers being answered. These stories are shared in hushed tones in support groups, around dinner tables, and in places of worship, creating a tapestry of hope and faith. While these stories can be compelling, they're unreliable as scientific proof. The scientific community demands rigorous evidence, controlled experiments, and reproducible results, which anecdotal stories simply cannot provide. Our brains are wired to find patterns, even where none exist. This cognitive bias, known as apophenia, can lead us to see connections and meanings in random or unrelated data. We tend to remember the times our prayers aligned with positive outcomes, conveniently overlooking the countless instances where they didn't. This selective memory reinforces our belief in divine intervention, even when the evidence is inconsistent. Furthermore, the human experience is complex. Our lives are a mosaic of emotions, events, and interactions, each influencing the other in ways we often don't fully understand. Positive outcomes often result from a combination of factors: hard work, support systems, and plain luck. The success of a project, the achievement of a goal, or the recovery from an illness can rarely be attributed to a single cause. Attributing such outcomes solely to divine intervention ignores the multifaceted nature of our reality. It simplifies the intricate web of cause and effect that shapes our lives. This isn't to diminish the power of belief. Believing in something can provide comfort and even influence our actions. The psychological benefits of belief are well documented, offering a sense of purpose and a framework for understanding the world. However, confusing the psychological benefits of belief with tangible external change is where we veer into dangerous territory. Belief can inspire us to take action, but it is not a substitute for action itself. It's akin to believing that wishing for $1 million will magically make it appear. While the hope might motivate us to work harder or seek new opportunities, it won't directly change our financial situation. While the belief might offer temporary comfort, it won't change the reality of our bank accounts. Financial stability requires planning, effort, and sometimes a bit of luck. Similarly, praying for a sick loved one to recover might offer solace, but it won't cure their illness. Medical treatment, emotional support, and the body's natural healing processes play crucial roles in recovery. We need to differentiate between the internal world of belief and the external world governed by natural laws. Understanding this distinction helps us navigate life with a balanced perspective, appreciating the power of belief while recognizing the importance of action and evidence. Section 4. When good things happen to everyone? Let's address the argument that good things happen to those who pray. Many people believe that their prayers can influence the outcomes of their lives, bringing them blessings and shielding them from harm. If prayer truly influenced outcomes, shouldn't those who pray more fervently experience more favorable outcomes? Shouldn't the most devout individuals, those who spend hours in prayer, see their lives filled with more joy and fewer hardships? The reality is far more nuanced. Life's events do not seem to discriminate based on the frequency or intensity of one's prayers. Good things happen to people of all faiths, and those with no faith at all. We see people from different religious backgrounds, as well as atheists and agnostics, experiencing moments of joy, success, and happiness. Conversely, bad things happen to good people, regardless of their piety or the number of prayers offered on their behalf. Natural disasters, illnesses, and personal tragedies strike without regard for one's spiritual practices. This random distribution of fortune and misfortune suggests that a benevolent, interventionist deity is not orchestrating events according to our prayers. If a higher power were directly intervening, we would expect a more consistent pattern of divine favor. If anything, it points to the randomness of life, the unpredictable nature of events that unfold regardless of our pleas for divine intervention. Life is full of uncertainties, and no amount of prayer can guarantee a specific outcome. The truth is, we live in a universe governed by natural laws, probability, and chance. The laws of physics, biology, and chemistry dictate much of what happens in our world, from the movement of planets to the behavior of cells. Attributing every positive event to divine intervention not only ignores the countless other factors at play, but also diminishes the hard work, resilience, and compassion that humans demonstrate in the face of adversity. People achieve great things through their efforts, support from their communities, and the sheer randomness of life. It's important to recognize and celebrate the human spirit, the determination, and the kindness that drive positive change in our world. While prayer can offer comfort and a sense of connection, it is our actions and the actions of those around us that often make the most significant difference. In the end, whether or not one believes in the power of prayer, it is clear that good things can and do happen to everyone, regardless of their faith or lack thereof. The beauty of life lies in its unpredictability and the shared experiences that bring us together. Section 5. The problem of suffering, a world unanswered. Perhaps the most compelling evidence against the efficacy of prayer lies in the sheer amount of unanswered suffering in the world. This suffering is not limited to isolated incidents, but is a pervasive and persistent reality that affects millions of lives every single day. Every day, millions suffer from disease, poverty, violence, and natural disasters. These are not just statistics, they are real people with real stories, each one a testament to the harshness of life. From the overcrowded hospitals where patients wait for care that may never come, to the poverty-stricken neighborhoods where hope is a scarce commodity, the evidence of suffering is overwhelming. If a loving, all-powerful deity responded to our pleas, wouldn't we expect to see less suffering, not more? The sight of people praying in despair, their hopeful faces turning to disappointment, raises questions that are difficult to ignore. Why do their prayers go unanswered? Why does suffering persist despite the countless pleas for divine intervention? The argument that God answers prayers in mysterious ways, or that suffering is a test of faith, rings hollow in the face of such widespread pain and injustice. These explanations often fail to provide comfort or understanding to those who are in the midst of their suffering. Instead, they leave many questioning their faith and the nature of a deity who would allow such suffering to continue. How can we reconcile the image of a benevolent deity with the reality of children dying from preventable diseases, innocent people caught in war zones, and countless others facing unimaginable hardships? The sight of a child in a hospital bed, war refugee children, and people in crisis shelters challenges our understanding of a loving and just higher power. The harsh reality is that suffering is an inherent part of the human condition. It is a universal experience that transcends borders, cultures, and religions. Emotional close-ups of suffering individuals and scenes of daily struggle remind us that no one is immune to the trials of life. It's not a punishment, a test, or a divine plan. Rather, it is a consequence of living in a complex world where natural laws, human choices, and random chance events intersect in ways that can lead to both joy and suffering. Thoughtful individuals and contemplative faces reflect the ongoing struggle to make sense of this reality. It's a consequence of living in a complex world governed by natural laws, human choices, and chance events. The busy streets, natural events, and scenes of people making difficult choices illustrate the randomness and unpredictability of life. These elements combine to create a world where suffering is an inevitable part of the human experience. Ignoring this reality and attributing it to a higher power's plan only serves to perpetuate a cycle of passivity and resignation in the face of preventable suffering. Instead, we must recognize our own agency and responsibility in addressing the suffering around us. Protests against injustice, activists helping others, and communities coming together to provide support are powerful reminders that we have the capacity to make a difference. By acknowledging the true nature of suffering and taking action, we can work towards a world where preventable suffering is minimized and compassion and empathy prevail.